And now, the Freedom First Sports Desk with John Appicello.
Locally, we had plenty of action, including in Daleville, where the Cavaliers of Coach Jamie Harless continue to churn out D1 talent. Four-star lineman Gunnar Givens was a commit before the season. Liberty Christian Academy sending a trio of football talent to the big time. Hidden Valley sending 4 student athletes to the next level.
Virginia is forced to bow out due to COVID-19.
10 Sports' Eric Johnson joins us now. So for fans, this is a disappointment, but what does this mean for their chances getting into the NCAA tournament? The big dance.
Absolutely. All hope is not lost. If the Cavaliers can show 7 consecutive negative tests before they arrive to the tournament site in Indianapolis, coupled with daily testing while they're in the bubble, they can play.
In the second quarter of James Rivers' game versus Perry McClure on Friday, the Knights got on the board, and they needed the extra point to tie it up. Kicker Morgan Marshall hurried out to the field for the point-after attempt.
Coach Jennings called my name. I was just so excited to finally get this opportunity, and I wouldn't have gotten this opportunity if it weren't for the guys to put in the effort to score.
Once the ball cleared the uprights,
my coaches always told me, he's like, you're gonna know when it goes in. You're gonna hear the crowd.
She became the first female in school history to score a point in a football game.
On paper, it was just another regular high school football game for Perry McClure battling district foe Bath County. But for sophomore Landon Catlett, it proved to be an unforgettable night.
You can hear it on the video. One of my best friends, Aaron Pruitt, he said, "Score a touchdown." And then as soon as I scored, I just thought about my dad and how he had coached me from when I was a little kid all the way through high school.
25 years ago, his dad, Eric Catlett, was in a similar scenario, a shining moment on the gridiron, kicking the game-winning field goal for the Blues against Rockbridge County. The then multi-sport athlete would go on to instill athletics not only in his son Landon,
throw and go,
making me dribble 3 balls in the basement on Sunday morning,
but the community as well, including the likes of Evan James Cook.
Growing up, I say everybody just wanted to be like Eric. He was a nice dude. He really helped everybody out. He was actually our coach that year we didn't win a game, and he was always motivational. You know, always made sure we were playing our hardest no matter what the scoreboard was. And he's really one of the reasons I fell in love with football.
He was often described as the ultimate family man and life of the party. As an avid fisherman, he even found light on the days that the fish weren't biting.
He was always wide open. It was never a dull moment when he was at home.
Eric's infectious spirit touched all whom he came in contact with, which is why the community continues to grieve the loss of a husband, father, and mentor after blood clots reached his lungs and heart following an auto accident earlier this year. When you first heard the news, what was your reaction?
I was heartbroken. I don't even know how to describe the feeling. It was just a piece of my heart kind of fell off.
Our First and 10 Awards tour nearing completion. Today we present another weekly award winner who also takes home the big gold football as Player of the Year. Lord Botetourt tailback Hunter Rice rushed for 7,065 yards in what amounted to about 3.5 seasons at LB.
Who would have ever thought the old saying, slow and steady wins the race, would apply to NASCAR? Martin Truex Jr. certainly proving that point tonight. He led only the final 20 laps of the race, showing that patience is everything at a track like Martinsville.
You know, I feel like I'm 10 years old all over again. I got my glove here with me. I've definitely outgrown it since the age of 10, but perhaps it brings me a little more luck tonight than it did at that age in catching the foul ball.
Eastmont claims the Class 1 girls soccer state championship in just their 4th year as a program at the school. Our own Brooke Leonard has more on the meaning behind this title.
While the Eastern Montgomery Mustangs girls soccer team's accolades this season are pretty big, including claiming a state championship in the Class 1 girls soccer final, their history truly began 4 years ago.
Glenver senior Carly Wilkes, the defending state champ, took the lead from the start and never looked back. She left the field in her wake, crossing the finish line at 17:47 and change, winning by 1 minute and 39 seconds over her nearest competitor. Nonetheless, the Furman University signee always looking for ways to improve.
I still need to figure out how to push a little bit harder when I'm out there by myself.
The Washington football team finished second in the league. 10 Sports' Eric Johnson has a couple of big reasons why. Eric?
Hey, Appy, there's no denying that the strength of this Washington team is the defense, and it starts in the trenches with the front four that's nastier than your third-grade bully. They're big, they're physical, and impose their will on everything and everybody. That's won state wrestling championships at Salem Civic Center semifinal round. Riley Joe Vaught of Galax got a win by pin over Jacob Holson of Rural Retreat. No trouble staying ahead in this one. And finally, the match point coming for Auburn from Martin right down the middle as the Eagles claim their third straight state title. They haven't lost a game since September of 2019. 74 straight wins, 2 state titles in 1 calendar year.
I feel like we started this in February. And because we've been playing volleyball since February.
More than 60 golfers making up 13 area high schools hit the greens in the Metro. Now a one-day invitational at Botetourt Golf and Swim Club. Blacksburg claimed first in the team title, score of 294. That included a 69 by Jake Albert. Enjoy the great outdoors of Southwest Virginia in this edition of Backpacking with Brooke.
Apple Orchard Mountain is a bald spot on the Appalachian Trail that has a unique peak and beautiful views. You'll start in the Sunset Field Overlook parking lot off of the Blue Ridge Parkway. Start heading down the paved road that turns into a trail, and you'll begin a quick descent. Mid-July makes for lush, cool, and green woods.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us for the Olympic Zone. I'm John Appicello.
First off, I want to get to your introduction of being in the pool. When did that come, and what did that look like? I imagine it was at a young age.
Yeah, absolutely. So my dad and I would go to Blacksburg Aquatic Center. I mean, I was like 4 or 5 years old.
Very special torchbearer, Brooke.
Thanks, Happy. Yeah, it's crazy that the Commonwealth Games are about to start here soon. In just a little under an hour, opening ceremonies and fireworks will begin. But yes, today's torchbearer and guest speaker is Antoine Craig, who's a Paralympic track and field athlete.
And now from the Freedom First Sports Desk, it's First and 10 with John Appicello.
Welcome to the big show, week 5 of First and 10. And with the Ryder Cup battle underway, we are channeling Tin Cup. I remind you, there is only one acceptable theory about how to hit the ball. You grip it and rip it. Jeff Williamson has no issues with that. His First and 10 website is a 300-yard drive. By all means, check it out from the fairway, which brings us to the game of the week. We return to the NRV, where 2 proud programs cross paths as they both continue to roll this fall. Christiansburg is a perfect 3-0. Radford checks in 3-1 under their new coach, Michael Christ. That name carrying all the weight in the world in nearby Blacksburg. 10 Sports' Eric Johnson was at the home of the Blue Demons tonight. Eric.
Hey there, Appy. You know, Radford really hasn't had any fall-off since they are under first-year head coach Michael Christ. As for Christiansburg, they too haven't fallen off all year either, looking really good in their respective district and looking to prove that they can not only win on the road but also at home. Let's get you out to the highlights tonight. The cheerleaders were trying to set the tone early, but hey, Radford did that. Opening kickoff, fumbled here.
I expected a number of these Seminole District teams we were talking about to be contenders and show out early. I got to be honest, Coach Weaver's Titans, now I think the secret is officially out.
Yeah, they are crazy good in the air, through the air, and tonight was no different, honestly, except a little better defense compared to last week. Abby, you mentioned this before I left today. Franklin County's clock control is legit, and that's due in part to their ground game. We heard a lot of this guy, Jalen Lee, over the PA tonight, including this touchdown.
I still feel like the Blue Ridge is going to produce some contenders. They've just been getting tough schedule early, and they've been getting beat up early. Now I think it's time for them to start getting some momentum, hopefully, tonight.
Absolutely, especially when you have athletic teams and hungry teams like William Fleming looking for a win tonight. They were on the field bringing in Harrisonburg. Homecoming game for Fleming. Third quarter, they're up 27-0.
Our John Appicello and Eric Johnson are in the Queen City today with more on our rivals in the Commonwealth.
When they finally got on the field, the 2020 COVID season frankly left us with more questions than answers. But, Eric, there are a couple of things we know about Virginia Tech. One, their quarterback is returning, but two, their 1,000-yard rusher is not.
Indeed, and Khalil Herbert left some big shoes to fill. First 1,000-yard rusher, of course, since 2015.
It's definitely super exciting, but there's been a bigger conversation happening this week thanks to voice of the Hokies, John Laser, who has sparked something even more important to talk about than X's and O's.
The Mountaineers came out with more intensity than the Hokies did. In fact, they played mad as if someone had stole their lunch money.
What made you two specifically want to combine forces and create a Hokie podcast?
Yeah, I think our main mission is just to kind of get in touch with the former players and make it more like we said, the locker room talk.
Virginia Tech found themselves in an eerily similar situation to last week, up by 9 points with under 5 minutes to go. But this time, the defense responded the way they needed to and learned from their mistakes.
They go on to a 31-17 victory. Silver Shako stays at VMI, and a lot of celebrating to be done in Lexington. Our own Brooke Leonard has more on the historic game and why this win means so much.
First time in a long time, the Silver Shako Trophy is probably the least exciting part of today's game against the Citadel.
10 News begins right now with breaking news.
Virginia Tech head football coach Justin Fuente is leaving, effective immediately.
Hey, Patrick. Well, of course, this became a matter of not if, but simply when this would happen.
This 10 News sports anchor John Appicello is with us now to talk more about what this means. So, Appy, why now?
Well, the college football calendar has totally changed, and that's because we have an early signing period of December 15th. Used to be we could do this after the holidays, after the bowl games. There's none of that anymore. You're looking at recruits who are going to be making their key decision leading up to the 15th. And right now, Virginia Tech has somewhere between the nation's 20th and 30th best class. You don't want them not being sure what's happening. Yeah, and I just want to know, have you guys had enough college coaching news? Or
there's a lot
coming down
coach
today.
At your health club left or anything we can report on? Because it's been pretty busy. My dad always used to say, when it rains, it pours. That's the college football coaching situation in the Commonwealth today, although today might qualify as a typhoon. UVA announcing Bronco Mendenhall will step down at UVA after the upcoming bowl game. Bronco is in his 6th season at Virginia. The Hokies got the combination they always knew they wanted, but now know they also need it. A head coach to follow a legendary leader who has ties to the program, the area, the culture that took so long to build. A.D. Whit Babcock introduced former Penn State defensive coordinator Brent Pry as the Hokies' new head man today.
He's a smart guy, but he's football smart too. The game makes sense to him. I think calling plays.
But the Hokies defense holds 29-24 your final. The Cup resides in Blacksburg for another year. Brooke Leonard has more from Charlottesville.
Well, tonight was certainly a tale of two halves. The story began with the team struggling to find an identity through adversity, and with many games like tonight ending in the opponent's favor, it was the Hokies' resilient effort that wrote the ending.
This team has been through a lot, before the season, during the season.
Let's head over to Eric Johnson, who has more on the Cavaliers.
Offensive woes and mistakes in the second half left the Cavaliers in a do-or-die situation late in the red zone, where the Hokies stepped up on defense, making the crucial stop in order to retain the Commonwealth Cup.
It's assignments. You got to be more consistent.
Thanks, Abby. Yeah, the new era Pinstripe Bowl is behind us. Virginia Tech losing to Maryland 54-10. Eric, where do you feel like the biggest difference maker was on the field tonight?
I feel like it was early in this game. It took both teams a little time to find some rhythm, but the difference maker, Talia Tungavaloa, I told you he would be yesterday when we were previewing this matchup, turns out to be the MVP in this one, throwing for well over 200 yards. He wasn't racing for a championship 4 spot, but Alex Bowman certainly raced as if he were in a heated back and forth affair with Denny Hamlin down the stretch, resulting in wrinkled sheet metal, hurt feelings, and the 28-year-old simply taking a page out of Hamlin's book. That's just short track race.
Mike Young's Virginia Tech team seems to get better every year. After a first-round loss in the NCAA tournament, the Hokies return almost their entire team, plus some new additions and, of course, confidence.
10 Sports' Brooke Leonard joins us live from Lynchburg for more on that one. Brooke.
Appy, Coach Brooks said on Sunday that it was not a moral victory. There was a lot to learn, specifically learning to play better as one, and that will be put to the test tonight against a tough Flame squad.
We'll welcome back our Rail Yard Dogs, who are in training camp this week. Talking hockey, the Dogs take the ice for the first time in over 600 days on Friday night.